Today I wanted to address why is carbon fiber so expensive? A lot of people complain about how much carbon fiber costs. And let's get into that because I at one point, not long ago, also wondered how is this front splitter for this car $1,000? You know, like, let's get into it. Let's make a video today on why carbon fiber is so expensive. And I think this is gonna be a fun video. Let's get into it. So today I want to address the one sore spot in my ass, and that is why everybody asks, why is carbon fiber so expensive? The number one thing you're paying for when you buy carbon fiber, the material is a cost, but you're paying for somebody's time. Time is what you're paying for. This mold I made behind me for this Honda Civic hood took me about 2 weeks working 10 hours a day, and it's not a difficult hood to make. So let's say an average shop is billing $100 an hour. For example, my shop was billing $160 an hour. You know, at $100 an hour, you do the math, right? $100 an hour, you got 140 hours. A lot of money just for the mold. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, well, you have the mold, you can pump out all the hoods you want. Yes and no. You might have the mold, but these things don't last forever. There's also maintenance to go on them, and it costs money to make them on top of time. Time is the key word here today. So we're gonna jump right into it. I'm not gonna get into exact details with you guys on how we're doing things. I do have other videos where if you want a more detailed video on how to make carbon fiber, I'll make those videos all day. You guys just drop me a comment and let me know. Number one thing we need to do is we did make a hood with this last time. We need to go around and we need to make sure everything's clean and ready to go. So I'm gonna go around here. What I have is my acetone and a razor blade and some paper towel. We could kind of chalk this up to shop supplies, I guess. If you're billing stuff, you know, this razor blade, a pack of them is $5. Not a huge expense. There's probably a penny there. Paper towel, about the same. Acetone, this is worth 20 bucks and it goes a long way. So maybe a couple dollars. We're not gonna consider that in the equation. It takes time. I'm probably gonna spend the next half an hour doing this. Half an hour. Okay guys, so that was about, well, actually I could tell you exactly, 22 minutes. For reference, it is 3:22 on Friday right now. And it's gonna be a little while before we're done this. Okay, so 20 minutes gone, $100 an hour. We're $47 into this already and we haven't done anything. Next up, we're going to need some high temperature mold release agent or wax. You want the high temperature because it's a big piece. It's gonna generate a lot of heat. So not a huge expense again, maybe 50 cents or something. These are Canadian prices, by the way. 50 cents, you know, this whole thing's 40 bucks and it goes a long way. So not a big expense. We're gonna put 4 layers down and that's all I really have to say about that. Okay guys, we've got the wax all on there now, 4 layers. Took about an hour. We're not working on it consistently, what kind of waiting in between for it to cure. Kind of like when you do it on your car, right? Now I'm going around the perimeter with some acetone here, and I'm just cleaning this up because I'm gonna put down next our vacuum tape or our vacuum tape or gum tape or whatever you want to call it. Everybody's got a different name for it. I think gum tape's probably the most popular. Next, not a huge expense, about $20 Canadian for a roll. And we will definitely use all of a roll. Definitely would not have a seal with that on there. So we're gonna go around one more time, I think. Just make sure it's all clean. Start with a clean side. Okay, acetone is done. Next up is our vacuum bag tape, about $15. Now we're getting into the big expenses and where things actually cost money. Sorry, not $15, $20 Canadian, $15 US, give or take. Okay, tape is down. Now we need to spend some money. This is where things start to get expensive. And this is where you don't want any mistakes and things need to be perfect. If you're watching this, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, one little air leak in here can wreck your day, one little tear in the bag. Having what they call bridge, where your carbon's not touching, like you can do everything right except for one step and you're screwed. So we're going to be very careful. So we're going to spend some money now. So the last time I made one of these hoods, I did the whole thing in carbon and then I cut this piece out. The negative side of that was I had this chunk of carbon I could do nothing with. So we're not going to do that today. So today we're going to do what's called a chevron. So essentially I'm going to run carbon from here to here, all the way down on both sides, and then from here across on both sides. And then I think we're gonna back it with some lentosauric. Usually I'd use a few layers of carbon, but this is a hood for a Honda Civic. I don't think we're looking for anything too crazy. So that said, we're going to have our carbon with our chevrons, lentosauric, and then another layer of carbon. And then we'll put the bag on. Now, cost-wise, let's talk cost. Carbon fiber in a 2x2 12, which we're using, is about $80 a yard, Canadian. I mean, you can get it on Alibaba or eBay, I'm sure cheaper, but I like to support local, and that's just what it is. And I know what I'm getting, I know the quality, I can see it, and the team at Industrial Paints and Plastics are amazing, so I love to support them. So we're gonna use about 2 yards of 2x2 12, so it's 160 bucks. And we're going to use lentosauric about 1 yard, and that's gonna be about 60 bucks. So 160 and 60, more money spent. Here we go. So that took about 30 minutes for that one piece. We still have to do that side, which is probably another 25 to 30 minutes. This side and that side's another 10 or 15. I'm not gonna make you guys sit through the whole thing, but it gives you an idea. So we're probably gonna be here about an hour and a half just putting the carbon down. But that is the most critical part because that's the part everybody sees. It is the most expensive material in the whole project. That's where all the money is. So you wanna do it right. So yeah, we're gonna spend some time on it and I will see you guys when the carbon's all down. All right guys, we've got the Sauric down. Before we put our next layer of carbon down, I take all the scraps left over from everything and then I like to put them where I know there's gonna be hood pins, the hinges on the back. It just adds some rigidity. This hood in particular, when I designed it, did not have a latch on it. If it did have a latch assembly, that's where I'd be putting it. But for now, I'll put a couple layers of extra carbon where the hood pins are, where both the hinges go, and then I'll just kind of scatter around some pieces just to add a little rigidity, and then it's better than wasting the old carbon. The one thing you gotta watch for though, if you ever do this, is the Kevlar that runs all the way through the carbon will bleed through. So you wanna make sure you cut that off before you put it in there or you're gonna see it on the back side. So anyway, we'll get this done here and keep going. All right guys, we put down our 2x2 twill, lentil soric, and I put those scrap pieces in between there to add a little more rigidity, just so we're not wasting them, right? And then under here, I actually put a couple more pieces where the hood pins will go. And things are looking pretty fire here. All right, next step. Actually, let's talk cost. So time-wise, it's 8:45. I don't remember what time we started at. I'm not sure. I feel like it was 3 o'clock or something. I said on the video. So let's say we're into it for 5 hours right now. So we got 5 hours in, cost-wise. Next step, we're gonna get down our peel ply. Peel ply is gonna eliminate the epoxy from sticking to the bag. So we're gonna get down our peel ply, and then we'll put our bag on top of that, and then see how we're doing. All right, guys, we've got that all down. I know some of you are like, oh, you just use pieces everywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. All this is doing is preventing the epoxy from sticking to the bag when it cures. Doesn't really make a difference. All right, next up, I know I said we were doing the bag, but we're not. We have to put down our flow media, which is gonna distribute the epoxy everywhere it needs to go. It'll cover pretty much anywhere there's carbon fiber. With the exception of up here, we're gonna leave a little bit, and I'm gonna call that a resin break. And what that's gonna allow is all the epoxy that's coming across here is gonna come up to here, and it's gonna come to a grinding halt when it gets up here before it goes into the vacuum line. So we're gonna get that done, and then we'll put our bag on. Okay guys, hopefully you can hear me. I got the vacuum pump running right here. I'm talking a little louder, hopefully you can hear me. We got our bag down, we got our soric down, flow media, everything's good in place. Check for vacuum leaks, everything's looking good. I think I hear a vacuum, I don't know. Next up's the epoxy, another big expense. So I use Silvertip Clear Coat epoxy, and it's gonna be about $150 Canadian to do this thing. Give or take, it's $330 a gallon, and we're gonna use about a gallon, maybe a little more, a little less. Or sorry, half a gallon. So another 150 bucks. You know, this bag is 1 yard, that's $15 Canadian. We got some vacuum line, couple bucks. We got a fitting, couple bucks. We got the spiral tubing, couple bucks. It all adds up. Like I said, you know, we could do everything perfect except for on the first layer, mess something up, and we could have a problem there and not even know until we take it apart. So that's why you want to be really careful. Because, you know, if you do the math, I don't know, 160, we're probably $300 plus into this thing right now. Yeah, so we're gonna get the epoxy going, nice slow infusion. We're gonna pull all the epoxy this way. And then we'll end up turning the vacuum pump off. And we're gonna let it sit for 12 hours. It's almost midnight right now, so it's getting late. We're 7 hours into this thing, and we haven't even done the bottom yet. We haven't demolded, we haven't clear coated, we haven't done anything. We're about a third of the way. So let's get some epoxy in this thing. Probably gonna take about an hour to do it all, so I won't time lapse it all for you guys, just some of it. And I will see you tomorrow when we demold. Okay guys, we're about 35 minutes in, I think. Yeah, 30 minutes in. I have an air leak over there somewhere who I'm trying to find. You can see the bubbles coming in. Somewhere over there, there's a pinhole I gotta find. Anyway, things are doing good. I mixed up 2 liters of epoxy, and we'll see how that works out. We may have to top it off a little bit, but yeah, so as you can see, it's gonna be an hour and a half. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with it. The time lapse, I'm just gonna let it finish. And I'll see you tomorrow when we come and take it all apart. All right guys, next morning, let's have the conversation I didn't want to ever have. And that is another reason why carbon fiber is so expensive, is because sometimes your $300 vacuum pump sucks resin in and fails and ruins an entire part. This is probably scrap, everything we did here.
hundreds of dollars down the tube, scrap. We're gonna find out, but I'm 97% sure that it's garbage. Awesome. So what happened last night that made it scrap? Let me explain before my battery dies. I was running around chasing vacuum leaks over here as the resin was going in because I missed these vacuum leaks, being half asleep because it was after midnight at that point. And what I didn't realize on the other end was the resin had come up all the way around on this side because there was a stronger vacuum and was getting sucked in over there. But I was working over here where these vacuum leaks are right here. And I didn't realize there was no resin going that way. And the pump sucked in some resin, and a $300 vacuum pump is now trash. So that said, we're gonna get this thing apart and see how much scrap we're dealing with. Super happy to spend $500 on nothing. All right, boys, let's play the game of disappointment. Some of you married men know what I'm talking about. Okay, let me show you. So we obviously had a major air issue, and we can touch this up. I haven't pulled this out of the mold yet. This is all stuff we can touch up from air getting sucked in. Not a big deal, easily fixable. Let's pull this thing out and see how things are looking on the other side. Drum roll, please. So overall, it's actually not bad. It's not great. I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna do with it. It's not cured yet, but we'll think about it. Let me show you. This is the flange area. This is fine. We can trim this. This is kind of wrinkly here. Obviously, the seam didn't get sealed very good there. We can repair that if we want. We can repair that. We can repair that. This is the flange. This all gets cut off here. I think we could repair that. Probably repair that. I think we could repair that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we fix it? It needs to finish curing first. I'm gonna put it back down and let it sit in there for a little while longer because it's only been in there for about 8 hours and it needs 12 to 36, depending on temperature, so. So it's a new day, I'm kind of recharged. You know, I was thinking there's no sense in throwing away the carbon fiber hood. I think we can fix it. I'll go over it with you guys now a little more thorough and see what we can do. If we can't fix it, then we'll throw it out, but I mean, we have to try, right? We're $500 into it and it's gonna cost us a few hours and $10 to try and fix it. So let me show you what we have here. So we obviously had some air in all the seams all the way around, right? We obviously had some air around the flange area here. I don't even know how we had no epoxy hit that at all. Not sure. Same deal kind of over here. Flange area along here. Go into the other side. Yeah, the whole flange area on the back side here. So I'm gonna get started on this, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scuff it down with something pretty aggressive, maybe 120 grit or something like that. I'll use a paintbrush, I'll hit it with a little bit of epoxy in those low areas, and then I'm gonna come back after and hopefully sand it smooth, and then we'll end up clear coating this thing and moving on to the next half. This is why carbon fiber is expensive, is you're paying for somebody's time. Now this doesn't happen, this is pretty rare. I've never had a vacuum pump just die like that. I've had them die, but not like this. So that said, this is an unusual situation, but again, you're paying for someone's time. And they have to account for losses, right? Like if this didn't work out, this is $500 that you need to account for. So anyway, I'm gonna get it all trimmed up and start going here. Okay, so I've gone around, so this is a clear coat product, and the one I just used is called Silvertip. Same epoxy, same brand. The coolings are very compatible. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this cure for a few hours,
maybe 6-7 hours, and then we're gonna come along, we're gonna block it as flat as we can. We may have to put another coat on it yet. And I'm gonna trim the flange line up and see if we can recover this thing. Uncharted territory here, boys. I'm like Christopher Columbus right now, sailing across wherever he was, so. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. So guys, in lieu of the vacuum pump dying, we're kind of changing things. This video is kind of going from how much carbon fiber costs to how much carbon fiber could be a pain in the ass. But anyway, so we're gonna do the skeleton of the structural part just in a standard layup fiberglass. Not ideal, but I mean, it does save a lot of money and a lot of time. For example, you know, now we're just looking at a bit of gel coat, a bit of fiberglass mat, and we'll go through all that stuff opposed to the entire infusion process. The downside is it's not as cool, not as strong, not as light. So pros and cons, but we're gonna let that epoxy cure over there and hopefully we can recover that hood yet. Until then, I've mixed up some unwaxed marine grade gel coat with the catalyst, and then I dyed it black. And we're just gonna brush that in here. We're just gonna do it like Bob the Painter. And I'm gonna brush this all in here. I'm gonna put it in pretty thick because I do know this mold's not perfect. And then that way when we sand it after and polish it, it'll look good. So we're gonna get this done and then move on to the next step, I guess. Okay guys, I've spent the last couple hours kind of cleaning things up and cleaning edges up, cutting flanges off, stuff like that. I like to use the original mold, just kind of as a holder, I guess. Just keeps things in place where they need to be. It's like a bra, keeps things where they need to be. So I haven't finished the other side of this, obviously. I wouldn't be doing this if I was. I've got it pretty good where I'm happy with it. So the next step before we shut it down for the night. So next step is we're gonna take our skeleton here that we need to clean up still. There's still wax and PVA and stuff on it. And make sure everything fits pretty uniform. Might need some trimming here and there. Actually, it looks pretty darn good. Now the key here is you wanna make sure this is absolutely square 100%. If you are even a 1/4 inch off, let's say you were like, not much. Did you even see that in the camera? Look, that much. That shifts the entire alignment of the hood off. So you wanna make sure it's perfect. Before we epoxy this down for the night, what we need to do from the back side is put the hardware in that's gonna hold down the hood to the hinge. So we're gonna get that done. I'm probably gonna clean this up before I epoxy it down for the night, and then we're gonna let it sit until tomorrow. All right guys, we've got her glued down or epoxy down. I like to use this body panel adhesive. So talking about expenses, this is not cheap. This is $115 a tube, and you use about 1/3 of it on one of these hoods. If you did a full hood, if you did the full skeleton all the way around, you'd probably use a full tube. I don't bother because this hood is a fraction of the weight of the OE hood, and it's for off-road use only. So anyway, so I've got it glued down here. I do it in 2 steps. I do it on the exterior, and then I do it on the interior. So we're gonna leave that be for the time being. And then we're gonna come back and we will revamp and see how much we're getting into this thing for. Things are cruising along. We're, you know, another half day to go here yet, and we'll see what we can get done.
Yeah, I am a smart mouth. How'd you think I wound up where I am, who I am by now? Just another minute till we sisters sign off. So if you're not with a wave, bye, bye, bye. Babe, I got a third eye. I don't do receipts, I'm a witch, fill me up for my switch. I'm a bitch, I'm a devil in disguise. But I'm hypnotized, they don't even know it is. They're in on the ride of their life lifetime. Looking to control this, hype me up, we're gonna have a real bad time. They don't even know it is. They're in on the ride of their life lifetime. Looking to control this, hype me up, we're gonna have a real bad time. I'm a witch, I'm a bitch, fuck you up until you die. With my trashy attitude and my demons in the mood. As I become the huntress, I've got them all confused. I will never be enslaved to the ideas they fuse. Or we're nothing more than morning creatures being used. Stop it, get up and
Hey guys, so I've gone along and I have wet sanded the entire hood. We've got it pretty flat, so we're gonna clear coat it right away here. Something I like to do before I clear coat is I like to go around and I kind of airbrush the exterior of everything, kind of gives the carbon a little more pop. Some people like it, some people don't like it. You should drop me a comment. I'm curious, do you like it, don't you like it? Anyway, after we get the clear coat on, we're gonna start to work on the center of the hood. I haven't cut it out yet, reason being it opens the opening up and then it kind of falls through this frame I have here supporting it. So let's get the clear coat on here and see how it looks. Well guys, it's a new day and we're getting back on the why is carbon fiber so expensive. The hood turned out pretty good. It does need a wet sand and a polish, but I will walk you around it here real quick and show you kind of, I don't know how it came out. It's not bad considering where we came from. So let's check it out here. So here it is. So those spots that were all messed up actually came out pretty good. There's this one and this one. See closer. Let's call it a chevron. That's just something, I don't know, I always think looks cool. Doesn't make the hood any weaker or any stronger because it overlaps underneath anyway. And there's this one right there. I had to look for it. And this one here. And then you can see, like I'd mentioned about, I like to go around and I airbrush all this in. I don't know, I just think it looks neat. All right, so next step is we need to get the window in this thing. I guess we're probably gonna tackle that today. I actually kind of dread it. So cost-wise, clear coat was, so I spray clear coat with what's called an HLVP, high pressure, low volume, high pressure, low volume paint gun. And looks like that right there. And it saves a lot of money. So clear coat wise, I spent about $5, not a lot. So and the gun itself is, you know, 50 bucks. So not a lot. If you were to do this with a rattle can or a spray can, you'd be more like actually I have one because I did some center caps here. So these are some center caps I did for my friend's McLaren. And I used a rattle can on these because it's just quick and easy. So if you were to use probably 2 of these on that hood, you'd be, I don't know, 40 bucks, 50 bucks. So, but we'll just leave it as $5. So next step, the Lexan window. Lexan is expensive. It's about 80 bucks a yard or a square meter. So let's call it 100. We need some urethane to hold it down. So another $100 expense. Let's go.
I'm a bitch, fuck you up until you die. With my trashy attitude and my demons in the mood. As I pray become the huntress, I've got them all confused. I will never be enslaved to the ideas they fuse. Or we're nothing more than morning creatures being used. Didn't stop it, give up and exwerp since we're being praised. Made so well, you are too crafty, we have made this homework, yeah. They don't even know it is. They're in on the ride of their life lifetime. Looking at control this. Happy up, we're gonna have a real bad time. They don't even know it is. Control this, heavy up, we're gonna have a real bad Me and her and him making love in the corner of your brain. And it's dark and it's damp, make no mistake. I sure am what I hate, and I love me all the same. Me and her and him making love in the corner of your brain. And it's dark and it's damp, make no mistake. I sure am what I hate, and I love me all the same. They don't even know what it is. They're in on the ride of their life lifetime. You cannot control this. Happy up,
All right guys, now that we're winding down one of our last days here, we're gonna let this cure overnight. We'll come back tomorrow. It is a 45-minute cure, but it's actually getting late and I'm getting tired. So we're gonna let this sit for the night. We'll come back tomorrow and peel the plastic off and go on to one of the last and final steps. We got about 4 steps left. In terms of our budget, the Lexan is about $200 and the epoxy is about 50 bucks. It's $100 for a tube and I used half a tube. So there's that. We'll see you tomorrow. All right guys, it's been a couple days. I usually we do this the next day, but got it tied up with some family stuff out of town. So that said, we're gonna remove the clamps here. Hopefully not scratch things like I'm about to. So we're gonna get the clamps off. And then this morning actually, kind of in between coffee and stuff, there's a frame that goes around the exterior of this. It kind of cleans up the edge. I originally didn't know what to do with this hood, with the glass. You know, a guy could leave it like that. Personally, I don't think it looks great. I made a frame that goes around the exterior. Thanks to TJ at Industrial Paints and Plastics for coming up with that idea, because I was not sure what to do. It's a couple layers of 650 gram 2x2 twill carbon and some bolts and epoxy. So total cost for the frame, you know, half a yard, I don't know, $100 probably for just the framing and the hardware to secure it. So I just threw this together this morning. It should sit something like that, and probably a little more centered though. And then we'll secure it down with hardware. And then I usually actually sometimes put silicone underneath it just to help seal it a little bit too. If I have any, if I do, I will put it down. I usually do. So we'll get that on there and things are looking pretty good. All right guys, I'm gonna finish up this hood here. I've got probably a couple hours of work left. Now the things that you didn't see that still need to be done, I do have hood pins I put in here. These are, I know some guys don't like them. I do. They're the push button style pins. I think they look clean with the carbon and everything, and I like the way they look. Now I haven't really speed tested them, you know, a whole bunch or had them out on the track, but that's what they are. So I'm gonna finish this up though. I still have those to put in, and I do put an LED light underneath here. I'll insert a picture here and you can kind of see what it looks like, and kind of gives it that ricer but clean look. And I have the nuts to put on the bottom yet, but for all intents and purposes, the point of this video was to show everybody who complains online as to why carbon fiber is so expensive. This is a basic hood, and as you can see by everything that we've listed, it adds up significantly, and it takes time. You're paying for time, the big T word. You know, this is 4 days of work. So if you were at work for 4 days, it's a significant amount of time. So I just want to thank you all for watching, and make sure you do all the good stuff. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your aunt, your uncle, your bowling partner, share it with your cat. Maybe your cat wants to watch it. Watch it again. I don't care. But we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.